Greetings, kind listeners. Thank you for tuning into Rambler's Trail, Holler happenings and natural news of Western North Carolina, brought to you by your host, Mary Williams. Kicking off the first episode, I want to give you all a brief introduction about myself and this newscast. Growing up in a rural southern Appalachian holler, I spent most of my weekends in the backcountry, exploring the mountainside and learning about local flora and fauna. After graduating from Chapel Hill, I entered the Park Service and served for 5 years as a naturalist educator. Unfortunately, I had to leave due to financial constraints, but I missed the work dearly. So, I decided to make a podcast, The Naturalist Decision. In this series, we'll be covering the latest breaking newts from the forest, highlighting local spots, and learning about our wild places. Let's dive in. It's hot outside. Coming to you this week with breaking newts from the forest featuring birds, herps, furs, and flora. According to Birdcast, more than 750,000 birds flew through Buncombe County last night. Estimated travelers include the indigo bunting, hooded warbler, northern parula, yellow-billed cuckoo, scarlet tanger, blue grosbeak, chestnut-sided warbler, American redstart easternwood pewee, black-throated green warbler, yellow warbler, blackburnian warbler, wide-eyed vireo, and spotted sandpiper. Let's learn a bird call. According to Cornell Lab, male indigo buntings whistle a bright, lively song of sharp, clear, high-pitched notes that last about 2 seconds. They are voluble, singing as many as 200 songs per hour at dawn, and keeping up a pace about 1 per minute for the rest of the day. Notes or phrases are often repeated in pairs. What? Where? See it. This pattern is recognizable, although the precise tune varies from place to place. Young indigo buntings learn their songs from males near where they settle to breed, and this leads to song neighborhoods, in which all nearby males sing songs that are similar to each other and that are different from those sung more than a few hundred yards away. Peeper season is winding down. However, crickets and cicadas still show up to play in our nightly Appalachian orchestra. Tanning season is in full bloom for our reptile buddies. Water sliders and snapping turtles are lining the rivers to catch some rays, and our slithery, snaky friends can be found taking a freshwater dip or relaxing in the sun. Wildflower season is almost over. However, asters and goldenrods still cover the Balsam Range, turtleheads line more woody trails, and the Blue Ridge Parkway is filled with wild sunflowers. Wildfires up in Canada and in Louisiana continue to rage, making skies hazy. However, observers will still be able to see a super blue moon on August 31st. This means that it will not only be the second full moon this month, the moon will be as close as it ever gets to Earth following its elliptical orbit. This is a concept known as perigee and can apply to anything that orbits Earth. Armadillos continue to move northward, nestling into our hollers as our new neighbors. August is an excellent month to tube down the Green River. School is back in session, and the throngs of tourists have largely left the area. The sun is warm, and the water is just right, both for humans and our reptile friends. That's why this week's spotlight is the northern water snake. This little snake, native to western North Carolina, can be found slithering and splashing along bodies of water, snacking primarily on small fish and amphibians. Just like river stones, the colorful pattern of a northern water snake fades from vibrant brown, cream, and brick to minimally variable brown and tan after it climbs out of the water and its scales dry. The scales themselves are keeled, meaning each individual scale has a little ridge running down its center. When feeling sassy, observers can find them making bluff charges at screaming children. These snakes are non-venomous and don't even have fangs, so the likelihood of a northern water snake actually hurting you is fairly low. However, if you're feeling stupid and want to handle a northern water snake, expect a flagrant display in which they flatten their bodies, strike repeatedly, and create a foul musk odor that soap only sometimes masks. It is important to note, These guys are commonly mistaken for venomous snakes, such as copperheads and cottonmouths, and it is a big reason why I decided to highlight these snakes this month. Distinguishing between the three is fairly simple and may save a life. Northern water snakes have a light triangular pattern on their sides, a shiny olive-brown snout, and round, friendly pupils. Sometimes, if you're lucky enough to see it, they have half-moons and speckle patterns on their belly, kind of like constellations. Copperheads have a brown pattern on their sides that resemble Hershey kisses and have typical pit viper traits with slit pupils and a face that looks kind of cranky, like they have a bad tummy ache. Cottonmouths do not live in western North Carolina at all. However, an easy way to tell the two apart is the snake's stroke. Northern water snakes are more often found swimming under the water with only their snoots poking out, while cottonmouths tend to float and swim on top of bodies of water. That's all I've got for now. Thanks for tuning into the latest on Rambler's Trail, your local podcast featuring Holler happenings and natural news. References for this podcast include Birdcast, the Cornell Lab, Partners in Amphibian and Reptile Conservation, the National Wildlife Federation, Explore Asheville, Smithsonian Magazine, and the New York Times. Special thank you to Jordan Farrow and the Internet Archive for music and sound effects. And special thank you to Sage Hopkins for artwork. This podcast was sponsored by Electrolytes. Stay isotonic in these sweaty times, my friends.